A lot of young marketers these days, they start chasing virality over impact.
What according to you is a good fit for marketing? Is it an analytical brain or is it a creative brain?
A brand manager's job is not to make films and all, that's it, right? You still have to drive revenues, you have to still drive numbers, you have to still drive primaries, secondaries, you have to still work with the e-commerce team, digital team, offline team on activation. Look at how the brand shaping up. If not digital, then what? TV bachana aapke paas, chala lo usme. You and I are working, everybody in our IT circle is working. Who is watching TV that time? Yeah, digital adoption is the way forward.
Hey there, welcome to Marketing Mavericks with Indiefolio. Today we have Abhishek Mehta with us, who's the lead of digital marketing at Dabur. Abhishek spent a long time in digital, where he's worked with agencies, young companies, as well as large enterprises. And today he shares his insights and advice for a lot of young marketers, agency founders, and also shares his opinions on AI and what the future looks like. Thanks a lot for your time, Abhishek, and welcome to the podcast.
Hey Kevin, nice talking to you guys. Looking forward for the podcast.
Abhishek, you've done so many things, right? I think working with large enterprises and legacy companies, or working with young companies, being on the brand side or the service side, right? You've done pretty much all of it. But I want to actually first highlight how you were in your college days, right? From what I know, I don't think you really studied marketing then. It was more to do with technology. So
Yeah.
can you kind of take us back to what were you doing in your early 20s, your late teens, and how did you stumble upon marketing as a career choice?
Sure. So I am an engineering graduate. And when I say engineering, it's electronics and communication, right? So electromagnetic field theory, signal system. This used to be my love during my engineering days. And then, of course, if you remember 2008, 2010, the Great Recession happened. So I got placed in a couple of organizations, but we sort of received wait and watch certificate. And when we sort of got the job offer, it was like, you have to work with the BPO, only then we would see when the market settles down, you would get an opportunity on the programming side. So marketing happened sort of as an experiment or accident, I would say. I wasn't into marketing. And if I recall my teen days or my college days, I used to be one of the most introvert guys, right? Very limited set of friends. I still have 4 5 friends I hang out with. That's sort of my network right now. Of course, for networking you meet a lot of people, but when I say friends, it's more 4 5 people. Same from college, school days till this age. It's very limited. So I was never a outspoken guy, or sort of somebody would take the mic and lead the group and all that. So I was very shy in my days. But this happened more like a accident, I would say. Because I didn't have anything to do. When I graduated, uh, I had an engineering degree. The market was bad, so somebody recommended me to a firm, where I started working as a SEO analyst. I didn't know what SEO was, but initially SEO used to be a little technical. So Penguin, Panda, all these updates used to come. So that used to be fun, right? For an engineering grad, at least some fun comparatively to the what your friends were doing, right? So it started like that. And initially, first couple of years, I did a lot of SEO. When I say a lot of SEO, I mean day and night. I used to think about, even when I used to be a random e-commerce site or random site, I went to that zone that I used to evaluate them. Okay, what all wrong is with this website and all that. So that started with the search engine optimization part. And of course, I got into paid marketing. Initially, Google search used to be big, very big. The entire transaction, entire business used to happen there. And of course, slowly, gradually, as the market evolved, digital as a world evolved, I also got into meta, media buying, larger scale media buying, brand planning, and everything just happened like a perfectly stitched story. So if you look at my profile, every job I did something different. So
Mhm.
for some it could be a little, I was doing something different there, and now I'm doing this different right now. It was more like learning for me, and then this actually helped me to build a full stack marketing career.
Superb. I must ask you now about marketing, right? I think a lot of people are confused about should I join marketing or not, is because uh, one set of people think that it's traditionally a creative job. You need to know how to like make ads and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But if anybody goes today and opens up the trends and what's really a focus area. They see data driven decision making, they see personalization. You also, are an engineer who did technical SEO, programmatic, etc., right? So what according to you is, a good fit for marketing? Is it an analytical brain or is it a creative brain?
I would say both. I would say none. Okay, because it sort of depends. If you are in an agency and your agency's primary job is to make films, work with influencers, make good DVCs, right? Then if you know nothing about analytics, if you know nothing about say media buying or integrated planning, that's still okay, because what you are doing right now is, it's under your core competency. If you are on an analytics firm, same logic applies. You're good with data, you understand. But if you're a brand marketer, you are working with a brand, you have to know both things, because a brand manager's job is not to make films and apply for PR and apply for awards and all. That's it, right? You still have to drive revenues, you have to still drive numbers, you have to still drive primaries, secondaries, you have to still work with the e-commerce team, digital team, offline team on activation, look at how the brand's shaping up. So when you get into a full stack marketing role, where more like a brand marketer or a overall product manager, you should know both of these things. One thing you won't survive with one thing, because by default, by nature, you would always be inclined towards making films only or looking at data only. But you have to find a right mix when you are actually managing a brand, because you're a brand custodian. But if you're working in a specialized firm, specialized agency, then of course you can actually do well with one skill, and it would eventually pay you well, it would eventually give you more satisfaction than actually being on two boards, three boards, and then still trying to figure out what you want to do.
The critique I get, right, from a lot of brand heavy marketers is that वो brand building nahi hai, because one day the influencer will say Kapiva, the other day they'll say something else. Or on digital, if it's a performance ad, what will happen is I'll have a very limited shelf life in my brain, and maybe the offer is why I'm buying it, but it's not the reason, it's a preference for me. What would you say to those brand managers?
See, so that sort of brand managers, I have a very, very big disconnect, because they want you to paint walls with your brand name, right? If not digital, these are the three, four things. They want you to run, traditional TV, right? Or print. Nobody's reading a newspaper. Are you reading a newspaper other than the brand equity or economic times? No.
Not really.
Like, my parents are still reading. Your parents are still reading, right?
Right.
They your brand as a brand, do you want to target them? Are they going to influence the purchase decision of what you are going to buy? No, not at all, right? You and I are independent, and of course we're going to consult them. But if you want to buy Tata Safari Storm, right, and your parents saying you should buy a Vitara, right, they can convince you 10-20%, because you already made up your mind, you have done your research.
Mhm.
So traditional brand man, I think this is where the legacy companies are really struggling, and that's why you see a lot of new age brands in terms of valuation, in terms of the turnovers are sort of beating them,
Mhm.
because again the same school of thought, right? If not digital, then what? TV बचाना आपके पास, टीवी और प्रिंट कर लो आप बैठ के, right? चला लो उसमें. You and I are working. My wife, our wives are working. Everybody in our IT circle is working. So who is watching TV that time? Yeah,
Right.
right? Other than Modi ji addressing nation at 7 p.m., 8 p.m. on certain critical, nobody's watching TV these days. People have
True.
moved out. हाँ ठीक है आप चला लो. OTTs chala lo. OTTs again digital. You have to accept it, right? The
Correct.
drama, everything is happening is our TV standard, but you have to think beyond that, and you would see brand investing heavy on offline,
Mhm.
traditional, until unless they are not selling very small ticket size product, they're sort of struggling right now, and they
Right.
would struggle, because digital adoption is the way forward. It has happened in the Europe, it has happened in the Western countries. India has to do that, today or maybe 3 years down the line. But the brand who will not invest on digital would continue to suffer in terms of awareness, in terms of consideration.
I, now wanted to ask somebody who's focused so much on digital, a question which often again comes up as a critique, that uh, data and data at scale and data lakes, etc., are a great signal to understand consumer needs, but qualitative research, talking to customers, is nothing beats that. I wanted to kind of ask you, if I am a young marketer and I want to understand my customer, वो सब बोलते हैं कि that is what marketing is about.
Hmm.
How do I go about doing it? Because today I can do a deep research on a Manus or a chat GPT, and it'll do everything for me. And young people are more and more getting AI first.
Hmm.
Is that going to take them away from understanding the customer? Is there a recommendation you have on what to do?
See, you have to have customer understanding irrespective of what part of that the product journey you are in, whether you're a
Mhm.
brand marketer or a digital marketer or a media buyer or a packaging
Right,
expert or you know or into consumer promos or into e-commerce,
right,
anywhere you should know who's your target customer.
right.
I generally rely on a lot of first party data. So if I'm launching something similar, then of course I would look into the existing customer profile, and then of course partner with a lot of analytics firm to get a customer understanding, talk them to myself, get an understanding what they're actually looking at, what's the one gap they would like to be seen in the existing portfolio. But in general, if you start a campaign, look at first party data, see how they are shaping up. You would always the entire funnel, everything would be available in front of you. Second would be social listening, right? It's not like you launched a product, right? It's just 2.3 out of 100 reviews on e-commerce, and then it's done and dusted. You're busy launching the another set of npds, right? But
Right.
honor that feedback first as well.
Mm.
And then whenever you get a chance as a marketer, talk to your consumers, get an understanding, the ones who are buying and the ones who are not buying as well, so that you would also see what's working, what's not working. The ones who are not buying may not be right all the time, right? They might, it might be a pricing expectation, it might be something bad happened, or the shopkeeper or the platform wasn't nice to them and all that. But most important as a marketer for you is to be in consumer shoes, be empathetic, see why would you buy this product. This is, I think, my simple fundamental for launching every product. I might like to, if it's not related to me, I would like to ask my wife, my family, whether you would buy this product, if it makes sense to you. Of course, if this is into category building, of course, then of course I would align the larger team that be ready to spend more money, some monies on category building, but the demand already exists. Do we have something which differentiates, right? If it's the same product, right, there are hardly any chance. Luck is a big factor in this, but there would be hardly 1 to 5% chances that it would really thrive or be a successful launch. But otherwise, if it has differentiator, the demand already exists. Try to be in consumer shoes, see what they're actually looking for, and it would solve a lot of your problems. And of course, whenever you get a chance, talk to them.
Couldn't agree more. I want to now jump into agency relationships, right? Um, I think 10, 15 years ago, you'd see maybe even a little bit older, right? You, as a marketer, would have to do a few campaigns a year,
Hmm.
which would be a maximum of a few dozen plus collaterals, which you need to make live.
Hmm.
Today, you have to probably do a dozen plus in a day.
Hmm.
For a company like yours, maybe every minute. I don't know. There's so many SKUs which are out there.
Yeah.
So a lot of pressure has come, for the marketer as well as the agency folk कि यार इतना content बनाते रहना है.
Hmm.
And I think that's led to a lot of strain in agency client relationships. पहले people used to say यार the golden age of advertising is here, and now they say it's over.
Hmm.
क्योंकि अभी people are not understanding my brand, they're not giving me a direction. Agencies say कि यार पहले आप 2 दिन लगाते थे to make me understand the brief. Now you tell me, hey, figure it out. Here is a one-line brief. So there's a constant push and pull on what's happening. I wanted to kind of ask you, right? Uh, in your experience, you've worked in an agency. You work also with a lot of agency as the client. What separates a good agency from a great agency?
What you mention is setting expectations is one thing, right? But it can't be always like that. I, being a brand guy, need something urgent right now, right? Say it's 5:30 in the evening. Say a creative has to go live, and it just has come, or something has happened. You mean a good agency says, "Hey, we have a time of 24 to 48 hours, so, sir, abhi to nahi ho payega ye," right? That would strain the relationship, because what is the role of agency when the brand works? They can hire all these people themselves. Agencies are the subject matter experts. which their job is to make sure the client has all the resources, all the ammunition, or all the tools they would need to succeed. You're a partner, right? You're not a partner on one aspect, right? So I think the agencies, setting expectations, what a good agency would do that, right? And the client would agree, okay, theek hai yaar, these guys take 24 to 48 hours. What they would do is they would reach out to some other agency who would be like highly, okay, okay, sure, guys, we would do it, right? We would do it in the next 2 3 hours. We would, of course, stretch ourselves and get it done. That's the sort of difference between a good and great agency. Um, Agencies in general, I've been with agencies, right? So I always had this, client is dependent on you and all that. This is
Mhm.
I'm telling you because I was with agencies. Ye chalta and all that, because the problem is the pitching team is different. For pitching, the best guys, the best, most polished guys, the guys who literally knows everything comes to pitch. When the engagement starts, it just really passed on to the junior most executive guy, right? That becomes your POC. Now think of that brand manager or marketing head who was into the presentation and he has set his bar here, right? And of course, no offense to a junior guy, but he would won't be able to, that's why that the guy was CEO, or the CEO of that agency, right? So he would take his on them. That's fun, sort of that expectation mismatch. And a lot of agencies take a lot of time to address this until unless some serious escalations come.
Mm.
Yeah, so I think that's one thing, right? I'm not telling you that eliminate the junior level or eliminate the senior level, but the middle managers at agencies are really crucial.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have to find ways of balancing both parties, right? Because any escalation, this client might write to you directly,
Right.
right? So they have to be very agile, very open minded in terms of balancing this. Brands, of course, right now the world is flooded with agencies, right? And it's no offense to that, but it is happening right now. So brand has a lot of choices. Plus, they don't have the time because you're already struggling with the P&L issue. You're struggling with the low optics issue. You're already struggling with limited marketing budget. You haven't done something great in the entire
Correct.
year, right? So there are a lot of challenges, right? So किसी के घर का problem solve करना, that's not their responsibility unless you and I have been working from last 10 years. I would say, अच्छा, this particular guy or this particular thing is not working, or let's sort it out.
Correct.
But that would take a lot of time. But thankfully, there are great agencies. We work with Starcom,
Mm-hmm.
fantastic agency, right? Even at 2 in the night, we would say कि IPL का plan live जाना, and these guys would take it. 6 pay, 7 pay, everything would be done. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not something we want them to do, but in terms of understanding,
Sure.
they come and tell us, this is how the digital or the overall media buying landscape is shaping up. It helps us as well to take informed decision. So that's
Mhm.
again one part of the agency as well, to keep the client informed, because you guys are working with multiple client, multiple industry. You have direct links to advertising partners versus us, which you have limited, set of points of contact, right? So of course, that one where you would educate us, it would help you to build that relationship. It's sort of differentiates of good and great agencies, because great agencies would like to see their client grow together with them and vice versa.
I think that's a good segue to AI, right?
Hmm.
A couple of questions I have here from all sides of the party.
Hmm.
Um, First is, we at IndieFully, we're a network of founders. These are
Hmm.
founders of creative studios, production houses, or solopreneurs. And AI is actually getting us very anxious. A lot of us very
Hmm.
anxious because now the craft is getting prompted through AI. The fact that
Hmm.
I know how to take a great photo, make a great aesthetically good design on a very nice video, the AI is taking away my job there, right?
Hmm.
And while we all know that creative people will still check the homework, which is what I think
Hmm.
we'll be hired for, and
Hmm.
deciding ki kya karna hai,
Hmm.
the concern is ki if you have the brand, if you have the brief, and if you have the money, of course, you should be able to get what you want, and that's essentially a marketer. If you look from an agency marketer relationship, do you
Hmm.
feel that as the world is progressing, creating content will just become one additional thing a marketer would do, and probably you'd in-house the whole the whole charter of creative?
Hmm. See, uh, AI, I've seen this chatter. I think it's been happening from last almost 12 months now, right? Uh, AI is not going to eat your job if you're doing something meaningful, right? It's at the end of the day, it's a tool, right? It's a tool, and then what we should be looking at, simple creative. So let's start with simple basic creative. A lot of agencies used to sell or do simple static creative. Say that a retainer comes and say X money, it has 10 static, 4 videos,
Hmm.
right? 4 would be in-house short reels, 10 would be static creative, and those static would be plain simple creative, right, which has product, which has some a lifestyle shot and all that.
Mhm.
That could be easily replaced by AI, right?
Mhm.
You can do that. You can actually create an AI lab, hire a guy who can actually know how to write decent commands, prompts, and it will be done. And of course, get an editor to do that. So those sort of things would eventually struggle. What, as partners or as marketers or everyone with AI, what we need to do is how we can use this as more like our strength, right? Script writing would become easier. So if you are a one person marketing team running a small D2C brand and you don't have the funds to actually do a DVC or a small or an influencer marketing thing, or you're a solopreneur, right? You don't have budget, but you want to do an influencer and run your marketing campaigns, and try to do something before you get some ground, and of course raise funds, and then of course so on. It could be a really good tool for you. You can actually give a prompt, write a influencer script, work with your influencer, get it done. So the power is there. It's up to you how do you want to use it. And again, the agencies or the brand marketers or the marketers can't think this is their enemy, right? It would be there.
Mhm.
When people went from simple as bullock carts to cars, right? Everybody, the people thought कि ये तो car आएगी सब चला जाएगा,
Mhm.
right? Of course the tech came, electric cars are coming.
Yeah.
Everything would add value to your life, right? That's why simple example is cars launch generation, right? Otherwise we still love that first generation, second generation, the oldest one, Land Rover, right? The design was classy and all that. They have to adapt, right? Everybody has to adapt. So it's more like a functional tool, but as entrepreneurs, guys who are actually offering services,
Yeah.
you would have to see how you can leverage this, because you would face competition with a lot of tech firms now. If you're into creative storytelling, who would say we leverage AI,
Mhm.
and same they would only leveraging chat gpt, right, writing decent prompt, but
Yeah.
they would tell you that they would tell the same client that they are leveraging AI, giving you insights and all that. So you have to see that it has the right balance of creative and AI. And then for pure play creative firms, it has to be the storytelling, at least for next 2 3 years, because AI बनाएगा, AI देखेगा, AI command देगा, तो मतलब where's the actual consumer is.
Right, absolutely. 100%. I think the menial recurring work, as you said, has like great
Hmm.
efficiencies built in.
Hmm.
But I think the way AI is kind of growing and moving, I
Hmm.
think it's too hard to predict, where AI would go. So I actually start asking, what do you
Hmm.
think will happen in 5 years? Because that's too long a horizon in
Too
today's
long, yeah.
time. We are now, going just to the last part and the last question of
Sure.
the whole podcast. I wanted to, ask you as a parting thought, if you could maybe go back in time and, give your younger self advice, what would you tell yourself? The theme being, I'm a young marketer. I want to have a successful career. Maybe I want to be in your shoes one day.
Hmm.
What should I do in the first few years of my career?
First few years, what I've seen with a lot of young marketers these days, they start chasing virality over impact in the early days, because it sort of gives them the eyeballs, it sort of gives them the attention in the larger group. And then I think one of the not the right trends to start your career is, brand would have limited money, but they would invest say 60 70% of that, or the brand market manager would invest 60 70%, because that would sort of enhance his resume versus actually adding value to the entire to the business. So I think that's one of the things which the brand managers, the marketers should look at. Don't chase virality, chase impact, because that's how the brand business is going to sustain. What I would advise myself is, I think I got into media a little late. If that would have been possible, I would have, started my career in media itself, rather than, doing a lot of work and, having sleepless night every week. Then, Google is going to roll out this penalty. What would happen? The site is de-indexed and all that. And of course, waiting for weeks to Google to get it sorted,
Hmm.
right? And then, of course, managing the client for those 2 weeks. Well, media was, of course, the rock star that time, right? You're spending money, right, to generate business,
Correct.
right? And your business would be gone till the time media would be stopped, but you're still the superstar. I would then get into more flashy things, do media as well in the beginning rather than learning this after 3 years, right?
Yeah.
Which I sort of missed in the initial few years. That's one. And of course, have a creative leg of yours, irrespective of it's required in the organization or not.
Mhm.
But build your understanding, because you sorted one part, you're strong with numbers, but of course get a creative understanding as well. As and when you would get a chance, of course you can start sharing your ideas well. Don't wait for the opportunity to come and you think you would learn.
100%. I think some golden advice for a lot of young marketeers here.
Hmm.
Abhishek, that's our time. Thank you so much. I hope you had fun.
Yeah, I really had fun, and it was nice talking to you. I look forward to more conversations in the future.
Superb, superb. And for everybody who stuck along, thank you so much. If you'd like another marketing leader, please like, share, and subscribe. A new episode will come out very soon. Bye bye.
Thank you.